Hi everyone and welcome back to Rough Writer, where every week I talk writing, self-publishing, and making it as an author. So it's Valentine's Day, love's in the air, and so is a lot of cynicism, honestly. I'm in a relationship and I hate this holiday. But if there's one thing that's more irritating than a Hallmark holiday like this, it's all of the overused character types in the romance genre. So if you're writing a romance story or there's a romance subplot in your book, here are a few cringy tropes that you should avoid to keep your readers from groaning and rolling their eyes. So the first trope to avoid when writing romance is the girl who doesn't know she's pretty. This is that really beautiful girl that just seems oblivious to the fact that she's beautiful. And this isn't just like, oh, she's insecure. This is like, she's just never even been told or enlightened to the fact that she is conventionally good looking. Attractiveness gives you an innate social advantage. I'm not saying your life is going to be easy, but it will be easier if you're good looking. So there's no way that she's never been told this before. If she's just underconfident, then maybe she's not going to believe people when they tell her that. But she will have been told that. So this should not be some sort of huge shock to her. There should not be any sort of like huge revelation that she's actually pretty. People, especially men, are really quick to note someone's physical attractiveness and probably say something about it, even when unsolicited or unwanted. So really, I doubt she's never heard this before. And of course, anyone can be insecure. Even attractive people can be insecure about themselves. But if she can't bring herself to like what she sees in the mirror, she'd at least have to acknowledge that other people do like what they're seeing. All of the books and movies that really overuse this trope don't usually just depict the girl as disagreeing with the compliments she's receiving. They make it out like she's just completely unaware of her own attractiveness. So yeah, I just don't think it would be that much of a revelation. Pretty people know that other people find them pretty, even if they themselves don't really view themselves that way. And the second cringy trope you should avoid when writing romance is the outcast who gets the popular guy. Anyone who went to a public school knows how unrealistic this is. Somehow these books and movies expect us to believe that the social outcast will somehow manage to land that like hot popular guy that everyone likes, who probably has never acknowledged her in the first place. So whether this girl is just socially awkward or part of like a really kind of outcast group, there is no way in hell that the hot quarterback or the rich class president or anyone like that is ever going to give her the time of day. I'm sorry if that sounds mean, but we all know it's true, especially if these are high school students. He's probably not even going to notice her to begin with, let alone actually go for her romantically. In high school, I fell somewhere between like really dorky and socially accepted. So I kind of like floated between both groups. But having been friends with those kind of outcast people, the ones who don't really fit in, I definitely know that the popular kids would not want to date them. And to be honest, those outcast kids probably wouldn't want to date the popular kids anyway. All goth kids view like the athletes as just shallow and kind of insipid. The art kids always think the popular ones are just like uncultured and cliche and bland. And then the really smart kids who are dorky just think that the popular kids are idiots. So I really don't think that this girl would go for him anyway, and I really don't think that he would go for her. Let's think about the fact that he probably has bullied her in the hallway at some point, or his friends have and he just did nothing about it. So she's not gonna want him anyway. If anything, she's just gonna want revenge, and I feel like that would be a more interesting plot line than the girl who just inexplicably manages to get someone who would never give her the time of day in real life. The next cringy trope to avoid when writing romance is the ugly duckling who turns hot. We've all seen this one before. It's that frumpy girl who after one or two like really minor wardrobe adjustments suddenly becomes wildly attractive. And I feel like half the time it's just like she took her glasses off and suddenly she wasn't dorky anymore, she was beautiful. And of course some people don't look that great with glasses, but taking them off is not going to make you jump from a 2 to a 10. Makeup can work wonders, but taking your glasses off or changing your wardrobe a little bit is really not going to make much of a difference. I feel like if anything, this trope just kind of implies that the love interest would have never noticed the girl to begin with, or never would have given her the time of day if she wasn't up to his physical standards. Had she stayed the ugly duckling, he never would have bothered to get to know her. And I know the physical attraction is important in a relationship, but the message that you're sending for your readers is that if you don't look good, then boys won't like you. I just don't think that's a great message to be sending. Another cringy trope that you should avoid when writing romance is the girl who fixes the bad boy. I don't like this one. I find this really distasteful. This is the fixer who's out to save their love interest from their personal demons. Everyone has problems, but there's nothing cute about someone wanting to like swoop in and fix them for you. Maybe not even fix your problems, fix you. True love is supposed to mean you accept your partner despite all of their flaws. So you shouldn't be going into it with the mindset that you're going to be the one who's going to get them to get their act together. There's just nothing romantic about thinking that you know what's best for someone else, or that you alone can be their savior. Leave that to Jesus, because when you say it, it's just narcissistic. It's one thing if the troubled love interest decides that they're going to work on their own problems for the sake of being a better partner. That's fine. But if the protagonist just wants to be the fixer and come in and pat themselves on the back for like doing such a good job with turning this broken person into a much more functional or decent human being, then they just look like a narcissist. There's also nothing romantic about a partner who's just so childish that they need their love interest to be a surrogate parent for them, who's going to teach them how not to be an asshole. Fiction's supposed to be an escape from reality, and when you write things like this, it's just, there's so many couples like that already. You don't need it in fiction. We've got enough of that in real life. The next cringy trope to avoid when writing romance is the Christian Grey or the Edward. I'm just saying Edward because I honestly don't remember the last name. Edward loves Bella the way a homeless man loves a free cheeseburger. He's just overly attached and possessive. Male leads like that are so often depicted as like the dream guy. This is the guy you wish you could get. The reality though is that their behavior is creepy at best and like criminal at worst. There's just nothing sexy about a partner who doesn't want to give you any autonomy at all, who feels the need to protect you without you asking them to, and even more so protecting you from things that you don't really need to be protected from. It's what they perceive to be threats to their possession of you. These types of characters also tend to get categorized as like the nice guy. There are people who think that just by acting like a decent human being to someone, it somehow means that they're owed a date or a sex or something like that. They might even go so far as to perform these like wildly generous gestures or extravagant gestures of kindness that the main character never even asked for and probably never even wanted them to do. But they act like by doing that, it somehow makes them more worthy. Like, oh, well, now look at me. I've been nice to you. So many people are assholes in the world. This means that I'm supposed to get something. These are the characters that people call dreamy, but in real life, we would just call them crazy. So anyway, my point is that romance should be cute. It shouldn't be cringy. It's hard enough to write a compelling love story. You don't need to risk turning your readers off by using these overused tropes and relationships that are just more toxic than they are endearing. You should be trying to write a love story that hasn't been beaten like a dead horse in chick flicks and romance novels meant for lonely housewives and loveless marriages. That's how you get your readers really invested. You write a romance that they've never seen before. So anyway, I did my best with this one. I don't really write romance. I have romance subplots in my books, but it's never something I've been able to focus on too much. I don't really like romance movies. I don't like romance books. I'm just not a romantic person like that. However, having said that, I can recognize these sorts of tropes that are just overused and just become annoying over time because they're just done so much. So anyway, if you want to read a little more about this, I have a blog post about it, and there's a link in the description as always. If you found it interesting or helpful or just kind of amusing, please like and subscribe, follow me on social media, and as always, thank you for watching. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. God bless.